this next part of our program is the brand audit, where one designer received a chance to hit the couch, so to speak, with brand psychologist Mary Wiel, who enjoys helping people recognize who they are so others can as well. Van is a global brand maverick, visual storyteller, and artist. Her signature New York brand lab workshop, which used to be in person only, will be launching online starting next month. And Richelle Plett of RLP Interiors was the one chosen out of 15 designers to be our lucky subject today. She is an interior designer and educator in the Kansas City area. She has a love for classic vintage furniture and found objects, and previously owned an upholstery studio that specialized in restoring vintage seating. She enjoys teaching other design professionals about the science of upholstery construction. So with that, take it away, Van and Richelle.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Richelle. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Very good to see you. I'd be doing this with you, Richelle. And of course, do I look foggy? Do I look unclear in this video?
I think you look beautiful.
Maybe not. Oh, I look. Anyway, I'm calling in from Mexico. Maybe that's what it is. But I was dubbed. I'm trying to get in the thing here. I was dubbed brand psychologist because I always talk to clients about, big organizations about when's the last time they checked the pulse of their brand, and they think, what is she talking about? Because I don't want people to fall into the trap of a dead brand walking. So I was thrilled to see your site, Richelle, and you are definitely not a dead brand walking. So let's start. I'm going to share the screen. Before we do that, I just want to say that, and to all of you, brands, a lot of people think your brand is just a logo, a color palette, or, the uniform or communication language and visuals. But really, your brand is just a feeling that people have about you, what you do, why you do it, and why anybody should give a damn. So this is where I'm going to start with how people feel. So let me just go in here, share the screen. Here we go, share. There we go. There is Richelle's site. So I'm going to give you a bit of feedback about what I'm looking at. And of course, what I'm waiting for, Richelle, is that fabulous image to come up of that chair. Hold on. Maybe it'll come up here.
Oh, that's the pop-up for the class.
Yes,
yeah.
But it often comes up. It often comes up pretty quickly when I go onto your site.
It's set for 20 seconds in, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll keep talking because I happen to love it. Okay. So what I wanted to say, Richelle, is that we talked the other day briefly, and I was suggesting you own quite a few domains, and I know you also own your name, Richelle Plett. So I was thinking, because all of us are longing for transformational experiences, we're longing for emotional connection more than ever, seeing as we're in this, uncertain, surreal times. And so I would love to suggest that, and you have thought about it, I know, to change the name, if it was something you got excited about, to RichellePlett.com, because we're all trying to be more human now, because we don't want to be sort of, to have that sort of human connection, I think would be lovely. Richelle, where is that thing coming up? Why isn't it the pop-up coming up? Because it's such a fabulous pop-up.
I don't have an answer for you on that. It's usually,
well, I'm gonna open up.
if you've been, it might not come up again. It depends on what the setting is. So if you've seen it once, it might not come up again for a revisit. I need to check the setting on that.
Well, I just, I keep opening it up because what I wanted to say is that it's a terrific photograph of your classes, because normally, and maybe people who are watching, if they look at rlpinteriors.com, what pops up is this fantastic photo of a chair, and the copy of the chair is Upholstery Uncovered. It's such, the reason I'm sorry that we can't see it is it's such an amazing photograph, Richelle. It's such a great name, Upholstery Uncovered. It could be the cover of a book, seriously. And when I first saw it, I didn't just see this, right? I was, but when I came to your site, and maybe people, if they're going to look at it now, they'll see it. Because I was thinking interior designer, you're an award-winning interior designer. And then suddenly I see this thing, this fabulous chair saying, sign up for, online classes. And I'm thinking, I was getting confused. Are you teaching upholstery or are you an interior designer? Of course you can be both. So what I was suggesting, because you also said the other day that I asked you what you most wanted to be recognized for. And you suggested that you want to be known as an expert interior designer, as well as having amazing expertise and knowledge of upholstery construction, texture, the nuances of framework. So you see here, there's the about page, work with us, you do interiors and online, and then there's this whole thing about upholstery and then contact. So my thought was, why don't you try having half the page with that amazing photograph of the chair with the terrific headline, Upholstery Uncovered, with, this is a live series of one-on-one consulting, workshops, and vendor tours. Spots are limited, sign up here. Because you didn't say very much about what it was. You just said, this is a live series, spots are limited. So imagine the half of this page is showing this very awesome and provocative and appealing photograph, which I think is stunning. And then the other half of the page is a picture of, interiors, a similar kind of provocative image, like interiors reconstructed or interiors, deconstructed. I'm so disappointed that photo. Is there any other way we can see that picture? I don't think so, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, you don't have, because I just keep seeing what I'm doing. I'm going to see if I can open up another page and see if it comes up.
Why don't you go straight to the upholstery education page?
Yeah.
That image and the description of the class is on that.
Fabulous. Thanks, Richelle. Okay,
because what you're speaking of is just a pop-up.
Yeah. Well, this is in Upholstery Uncovered. And when it pops up on the homepage, it's quite dramatic. The colors are a little bit more intense, and Upholstery Uncovered is somewhere over it. I mean, I think it would be an amazing book cover. So imagine, thanks for
Van,
showing this. Telling me where
sorry to interrupt you, Van. Could you try resharing again? We're having a hard time seeing your share. Maybe if you can stop your share and relaunch it again. We're not.
You know what I did? Yes. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Damn. Of course, we share.
Oh, no worries.
I'm so sorry that we just can't see that. Hold on. I just have to put this in. Okay. I just don't want to delete us like I did the other day. Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
There we go. That's great.
Okay, so the pop-up isn't here. But here is the... so it might... on the pop-up on Richelle's site, it's much stronger colors, and it's just a fantastic image. So when I look at something like this, and this is what you want potential clients to do, I mean, I think it's fabulous graphically, and I just lean in closer to the screen. My eyes are gleaming because I think, wow, what is this? I don't know anything about framing or upholstery. So my point is, imagine if this were half the page, one half of the page, Richelle, with Upholstery Uncovered, tiny type. This is live series. This is a live series of one-on-one consulting, workshops, and vendor tours. And then the other side of the homepage could be also a very intriguing picture from one of your shots of design interiors reconstructed, because uncovered and reconstructed or deconstructed have a similar sort of tone. Do you know what I mean, Richelle?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm listening.
Tone, yeah. Because to me that is really appealing, because they're both in the same ballpark. It's like how to uncover behind the scenes, and you do have an expertise in construction of upholstery and frames, and you love it. So I think interiors reconstructed would be very. That's my suggestion. Now, with the links, I think it's great that you don't have many links, but as I said, the first thing people look for is the person who's running the show, right? So I just see that, you've got about in here. So, people don't like to look too long or too hard if they can't find what they're looking for. So my suggestion would be to have, instead of RLP interiors here, to have about, right? Work with us. You've got the interior and the online, which is also here. You could, and then you have your upholstery education would come up when you hit the upholstery page. But here, this is about you. Okay, now I was talking to Richelle and saying, I want to know more about you, right? Because she's talking a lot about her practice and what she's doing, which is, you have an accomplished career. You've been featured in the press, profiled on TV, speaking. You've had a brick and mortar design studio, and you're a master in upholstery. So, but you start right away about the business. Okay, so I think the about page, it's great to have something about the business, but it's also great to have something about you. So here you are, right? Looking great as a blonde. And this is a lovely story, how you started off. And I'm thinking here, read more about it here. So if I'm in a hurry, I may not get here. So I go here. And I think this is terrific. This is Richelle talking about humble beginnings in a garage where she would salvage and restore old-fashioned pieces, selling them on eBay. And she realized there was a great connection here. Then they moved into a 10,000 square warehouse building. It's a great story, and how all your family got involved. If you visited us back then, remember my parents and girls, everyone's doing well. That's, people love that story. Oh, here, this is sort of like that picture. It's similar, but not the same. So these are all pictures of you, your family. This was the name of your store. Sorry?
I said, there's Jane.
Yes, there's Jane, of course. So to me, this is telling a lovely story. Okay, so I miss this when I go here to this page. I don't have a sense about enough. I want to know more. So I would have some of those fabulous shots of you close up here, a bigger picture of you, and perhaps not interior design services for Kansas City. You're keeping me at arm's length, right? I want more upfront, close and personal. So, you could have meet Richelle. That's not very exciting, but, a lovely statement about, Richelle, and then have something about what you're doing. And because you have this, I really think it would be great to have something, a story, a sort of a heartfelt story, because all those images read it more about it here are fabulous. Imagine if here you have a picture of you, meet Richelle, and it's something like, it all started one day in Kansas City, full stop. Richelle Plett started finding, salvaging, and restoring old upholstered pieces and selling them on eBay. It was the launch, or was the starting point of her career. So immediately you think, wow, people love knowing how people start in the garage and then go from there. Let me see how the time is going. Are we okay on the time?
So I have a question, yeah. Mary, about balancing branding with SEO. So the interior design services for Kansas City and beyond, that is basically an H1 header that is supposed to be interior design and Kansas City, both of those for good SEO. So I'm struggling with how to incorporate the nuts and bolts with the warm and fuzzy.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is a balance. I get it. And SEO is hugely important. And if this site, I'm sure, is working for you and people are finding you, you can't just throw everything out and start again. But here, maybe maybe keep that for SEO and then say, meet Richelle Plett, one of the something, one of the, the award-winning interior designer, educator, and master upholsterer or something, So it has a little bit more.
I don't do it myself for people, but I just teach.
No, I know you don't. I know, okay. But you know a lot about it. But I get it. I totally get it. But here you could start. It could even be the backstory about Richelle Plett. One day, it all started one day. Just to give it a bit more heartfelt messaging, so I feel like I'm hearing about someone I want to know or work with. And here is your story. And you talk here about nuances. You talk a lot about nuances. Anyway, this is great. The pictures are great, but you see, there's a lot of space here between your logo and your links. You see how if I'm in a rush and I want to know more about you, I have to keep scrolling. So I think, just as a suggestion, I'd have a close-up image of your face and then have these also, but you could have a whole grid here, a whole grid even before you have this line, so that people get, because communication works the strongest when you have words and pictures together.
Okay.
Contact page. Now also, talking about how people, you see how this is taking up. It's the design of this.
I think it's the template.
Logo.
Yeah, it's the template from Squarespace. It kind of dictates the parameters, but yeah, it needs to work.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I think, again, contact page, I've found that it's the one place where you can get someone's attention just as they're about to reach out and want to contact you. And so many contact pages are, these forms that you fill in. But to me, it's an unrecognized opportunity to sort of say hello or have a fun photo with a short paragraph about what's going on, or anything that feels personal. Because you see, this could be anybody's page, right? Contact page. Mm-hmm. And I know I see these all the time, but I'm just suggesting, if I don't know, with your template, if you're allowed to have something that feels, you have questions here, of course, that's all great for you, but I just want it to be a little bit more personal, Okay. This is probably an SEO thing too, but I just think this is such an opportunity, and people sort of just miss it most of the time. Mm-hmm. Do you have a question before I keep going, Richelle?
No, I'm taking it all in.
Any question?
My biggest question was the SEO, which you answered. I think it's just the template limitations, and Squarespace is great for a lot of things, and it does fall short in some others.
Yeah. Right. No, I get it. Well, I guess if you can't, wherever those SEO words are, perhaps you can make other things like here. This is your services. Right. The
Put
process is really great. But maybe you could make it. Yeah, photographs, and I'd love to see a day in the life of Richelle Plett, and have like a grid of photographs. At 8 a.m. you're out picking up coffee before you go to the. You know what I'm saying, so that people get a sense of who you are. I think that's the fun thing. It's really. It's so that people feel like they almost know you, because your brand really is, or your site is really a way of people coming in, and if they were coming in to meet you, you want them to feel the same way about you after visiting your site. It's not just a format for you to, or for any of us just to just put it up. It's about putting more. Look, see, these are all great. This is your vendor tour page. Great images. But, if I'm not interested in upholstery, I'm not going to see these, but I'm sure some of these you could use, out and about, on the job every day, taking people around. So you do several things. So, and this is the mentorship. I think that's great as well. Yes, I think images and personal information really would help, Now, the only thing is with this logo, I'm just going to make sure I haven't. What's the time? Are we okay, Aaron?
Yeah, we're doing fine.
The logo, okay. The logo, well, how do you feel? Are you attached to the RLP? I mean, you've had it for a while. How long have you had it?
I'm open. I'm open.
But have you had it for a long time?
Images and shapes and styles I like. I very much like an Art Deco aesthetic.
Right.
Kind of a global aesthetic. But I'm certainly open.
I like your.
I'm not crazy about script for myself.
Well, I'm just. No, I know. Well, I'm just suggesting. Well, it would be fun to have something with your name, a logo with your name. But I mean, RLP Interiors is the name of your company, so there's no reason for changing it. So I just wanted to say, with your homepage, see, interior design for real life. I'm just going to comment about this, and then maybe we can wrap up for questions. Because you love frames, I know I sort of go in a bit too deep, but you did say somewhere how you love salvaging these old furniture frames, and you can see the magic of upholstering them with a particular fabric. So the word framing to me is a lovely word, I mean, and you have a discerning eye, and you talk about the nuances in design. So I was just having some fun with thinking, because language is what makes people also lean in. Because real life is great. But I was thinking, I mean, I haven't worked this out, of course, finally, but, framing a frame for living a real life, or a discerning eye - nuances in design, interiors, and life, Maybe I think the life thing, real life, is lovely, but interior design for living a real life, because these lines, these taglines can really give a lot of information away to prospective clients, because if they like the energy and the feeling around it, that's what makes them stick to they keep wanting to know more. So I think you've got, or imagine, a discerning eye framing an exuberant life, framing interiors, design and an exuberant life. That feels, I mean, maybe exuberant is not the right word, but, a real life. I mean, a real life is great as well. So, the whole thing about language on a site and the tone, you see, it's really the tone that's so important with language. Sometimes the tone of what you say is more important than what you say.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, people really now want more emotional connections and meaningful. So I mean, this is lovely, Richelle, but I feel like I want more energy in there. So I go, yes, I want this. This is what I want, because people, when you see a site or a business online. Yeah. Yes. No, I know. So I think I've sort of, so I would have about as a separate link, because, because people want to look and they don't want to try and find you. It just makes it for them to find.
Okay.
Blog. That was a blog, yeah. Ouch. Anyway, Richelle, thank you for, there you are. Wow. Hands-on. Richelle, thank you for letting me put you on the hot seat. You see, these are amazing. This could also be on your, upholstery education. You see what I'm saying? You've got great pictures. I think we hide our photos and we don't really give enough, give people enough visuals to really get the feeling.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Are we good?
Can you hear me, Van?
Can you hear us?
I can. Yes, I can.
You just mentioned photos, and I had a question about photos on the homepage. How important is that? I didn't see a lot on her homepage, so just talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, I think that's what I. Thanks for the question. I think here on the homepage, what Richelle was saying was, where is the homepage? Here we go.
That's it. Yeah.
Was it's one big photo, and then it goes into the interior and online. I think the issue for me is this, and this is the square, the template. There's so much here. I mean, it's all already. I'm on a laptop, and it's almost half my screen. So I agree. I mean, I think images can give you so much energy and clues. So Richelle has that large photo, but it's not. It's one big photo, but it's way down, so you have to scroll. And I think people scrolling too far or too long can get tiring, is my point.
Right.
So yes, I would love to have more photographs, I mean, because right away, especially if the photographs are a good selection, you immediately get a sense of what this person's about. Richelle, could you put photographs at the top there, or would your template not allow that?
I don't know. She might be
Richelle?
Difficult. We don't see her live right now, so I'm not sure what her connection is like.
I do believe we've lost Richelle's connection. Yep.
Okay.
Van, if you want, go ahead and stop your share too, and we can move forward.
Hopefully she'll come back.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, I think that a lot of designers, I feel like when I have conversations with designers a lot, they are, they're redoing their website after 2 years. I've heard from a lot of designers who are redoing their sites now, and I think that there's always this between the fuzzy, the like how much is too much, get those SEOs, and it is I think a conundrum a little bit.
Yes, SEO is important, but I think I haven't paid enough attention on SEO on my site, because I wanted the feeling, I wanted the energy, and so I said,
right,
said,
and it does have great energy, and it's all black, white, and bold, and it's fun, and it's like every time I go on it, I discover something else. It's interesting. I mean, I know Richelle. We had a picture together, but I've seen her at markets, and first of all, I commend her. It's never easy to get up, right, like live, and just kind of like be under the hot light. But she has such great energy, and I feel like in some of those pictures that we saw farther down, you get a sense of like she is just like she knows her stuff. She's on the ball. But I would like to see also more of that, like in her about, like I want to see her as soon as I go on to that. And I like the way that you sort of, I like whatever you just kind of rattled off about like how to introduce herself. Mm-hmm. I didn't write it down, but it sounded really alluring to me. So, yeah.
Well, there you are, Richelle. Are you hearing all this?
Hi.
You're welcome back.
Hi. I was here I'm here.
Oh, well, you heard everything. That's good. That's good.
Well,
I
heard
Jane,
everything.
with you, and I think,
yeah. So I just had one question about about the about page, and yes, I'm going to check that template spacing. What's your preference on long form scrolling versus navigation tools? On a website, because you see some that people are just scroll all the way down through all the things, and then some is just pick and choose at the top navigation.
Well, it's a good question, because sometimes people just design a one-page site, right? And if you go to the links at the top, then you go down that page to wherever that was.
Right.
I don't know technically or SEO-wise what's a better choice, but I think that's a tough question. If anybody, Jane, if you want to, either of you want to answer it, I think it's a matter of preference. I think it's what feels. I don't particularly like. I mean, I think I prefer using navigational links because it's exhausting. Really, to keep going down, and you don't know when it's ever going to stop. I just think it's easier. But I think both work. Do you have a preference? You're not sure?
Not particularly.
I was thinking, I personally like with scrolling, going down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm flexible.
Well, if I did that with my site, I don't think people would never get to see anything because it's too much. But I agree, there are advantages for both, and I don't have a good answer for that. Sorry, Richelle. No, but listen, let me know if you want me to give you some ideas for copy and stuff.
I was going to say, someone in the chat said they recommend Richelle to take a class with you with your upholstery. And I was just curious, can you talk a little bit about your classes? Like, are they in person? Are they virtual? And how often do you schedule them?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share this information. They are virtually in person, meaning they happen one-on-one with live interaction, and then I do record them because people have life and maybe can't attend all 5 sessions. I break them down to 5. I'm thinking maybe 6 meetings next time, which is frames, foundations, cushions, fabric, and fabric applications for custom. So each session is about an hour and a half long and discusses those fairly in depth. I have a group, and I also do an upholstery vendor tour for students to have the quick Cliff's Notes, tushes in seats experience. And I do it 4 times a year.
Oh, that's great.
And right now I have a wait list, which is the pop-up.
Okay. And they can find on
Jessica.
I didn't hear.
That's great. And also, someone asked a question: is there a certain web building site for designers? I don't know if Van, if you can answer. Is there a certain web building site for designers? Is there anything you could recommend?
Well, there are so many, but the one I like, because Debbie Millman, Debbie Millman is a amazing designer. She's not interiors, but she was a branding consultant for years, and she's an author and an illustrator and an artist and advocate, and she has a show. You probably know her show, Design Matters, with Debbie Millman. She's been interviewing creatives for the last 15 years. She uses Wix, and she raves about Wix.com because, I have one of my sites is on Wix, and it's just like playing. You don't need to use code. It's just amazing. So, and she's often said for designers, because she's a designer as well, she thinks Wix is terrific. But then, that's the only one I would recommend, because I know Square and I know so many of them have limitations, and that's what would drive me crazy. Wix, you can do things. You can have photographs at the very top, and it's just amazing, I think. So I would suggest thumbs up to Wix.
Sorry that we left you for a little while. We had a little technical snafu, but we're back. So Richelle, thank you for being there. Letting Mary poke around and just letting us all kind of see that exploration. So thank you. But Mary, I first.
I was very brave.
I want to call you Van, but first of all, I thought that, I was like, Don can't be the only person that wears a hat, and Van can't either. So I'm going to try the hat on, I'm going to make it my new brand or something.
Well, you look good. I love it.
But you also, you've got your line of art, your Black Line Crazy line of art, which I know Andrea had chosen for resources for a summer market, because I met you in Atlanta at the show. Mm-hmm. So can you just tell us briefly about that line, and then could you share the gift away?
Sure. Thanks, Jane. Yes, we're the only three who have hats on the screen right now. I'm sure there'll be others. I've been in the branding space for 30 odd years. I had my own agency in New York and Sydney. And after I sold it, I started, consulting and doing workshops, leading workshops. But a few years ago, I landed in the middle of Mexico. I'm sorry, I think my voice is not as fast. I landed in the middle of Mexico, and for some odd reason, I wanted to paint floor to ceiling. I mean, I've always been a creative doodler, but I bought a brush and a can of house paint, black acrylic house paint, and started to paint floor to ceiling for the first time in my life. And then, amazingly enough, in the last few years, 4 or 5 years, I had a successful, almost sold out exhibition in Sydney, here in Mexico. I now have a commissioned public art installation in New York right now. It's been up for 2 years in the UBS bank lobby. But the collection, yes, Jane, is I decided because art belongs in everyday life, right? I'm an artist, but I don't necessarily just need art to be in a frame on the wall. So I said to myself, why not print some of these paintings on bags, messenger bags, totes? I met master weavers here in Mexico who have interpreted my paintings into 100% wool throws and area rugs. So that's what I love to do. I mean, it's so I wear 2 hats, like so many of us do, right? Branding maverick, and an artist designer.